head right.
Oh, yeah, baby. Let's do this thing. It is time for TZL, Unprescripted. Let's talk about some stuff I don't care about. You know how it is. Hey, it's not that of course, I care about what's going on with the country and stuff like that, what's going on with my folks. I just don't care about the lunacy. But I understand that if we're going to try to preserve this republic, man, be effective salt and light, man, I guess we gotta do some due diligence, huh? We gotta, make sure that we try to promote some sanity out there. I care about sanity, man. I don't care about insanity, man. But, I want to do my part. I want people to receive the Lord's peace and truth, man. That's the real fix for everything. The medicine is there. You want to talk, it's like they're trying to get this vaccine rolled out there. We got to make sure that there's enough vaccine for everybody, and we got to make sure that everybody get it. Hey, the Lord's peace, truth, and sanity is in abundance. All people need to do is, if they're so concerned about people taking something that's going to be healthy for them, that's going to help them and, make the world a better place and safe, and take that. Get inoculated with the word of God, dang it. That's what people really need if you want to be inoculated from the real virus of nut bagginess or whichever. So at any rate, y'all, that's what we trying to do here in the TZL. And I know you guys know what's up with that. So anyway, that being said, now that I've made that clarification of things that I care about and things that I don't, let's see what came across my desk that I can offer up a dose of from the Zoloft with. Let's see, we got Justice for J6 rally puts spotlight on evidence of political motives behind January 6 persecutions. All right, and once again, thank you guys so much for showing up. We know, and I'm very grateful for y'all who come in to party with me in the sane space. People out there looking for that safe space out there. This is your sane space, right? That's how we do it up here. Okay, so anyway, what was we talking about? So that justice for the Jason. Okay, now, this is the thing that concerns me about this, y'all, more than anything else. So we're going, I see conservatives, a lot of conservatives out there, got a grievance about these people who are being detained. I understand that. That's great. But in doing so, Republican voters, is this an admission of guilt? Are we going to take, look, I ain't gonna sit here and act like I know the whole skinny on that. And one of the things that I don't know is who the perps were, right? I don't really, it's like, were these imposters? Cause it's like, as far as I'm concerned, hey, Republican voters, I think we're supposed to be a little bit more restrained, a little bit more, refined in our conduct and how we do certain things. That's the rumor. Anyway, that's the rumor. There's a lot of unruly Republicans out there that I ain't gonna lie. Let's just call it like it is. Yes, I'm a Republican voter. I'm conservative. But hey, so I ain't afraid also to call out my own. A lot of people talk a lot ahead to me too. So a lot of Republicans talking, hey, you're not really a conservative. Okay, whichever. But anyway, I don't think we should turn into a circular firing squad, but at the same time, I don't want us to be a foot firing squad. Hey, let's shoot ourselves in the foot. Are Republicans, is that going to be the narrative? Are Republicans owning up to this? Are you saying that those who went to charge into the White House, are you saying that those were Republican voters? Were those Trump voters? Is that the claim that you guys are making by going along with this? And you're going to make a fuss about these people being detained? So, let's be clear. Let's be clear about that, because I thought the narrative was that we're showing all these pictures of these people who were there at this rally and at that rally, and they're over here and over there. And we were trying to make the case that, hey, these people are imposters. These people are plants and all that sort of stuff. Well, I guess maybe they weren't plants. I guess now they're political prisoners who are being held against their will because of their beliefs. If they're held because of their beliefs, and those beliefs are of the right-wing persuasion, then I guess those people weren't imposters and they weren't plants, right? So conservatives, are you setting yourselves up to fall into the Democrats' trap again? Are you doing it again? Because that's like the habit of Republican voters. Democrats, like lay a trap and Republicans just walk into it. So Republicans, I would advise you that if you're going to go at this angle, you might want to make sure that you kind of come at it from, if I may so humbly suggest, that you come at it kind of from a bipartisan angle and say that, look, it doesn't matter who these people are, right? Whether they were Trump voters or whether they were imposters. right? Because Democrats, hey, you know they're really good at smoke and mirrors, and you know that they're really good at making things look as if there's something that they're not. That's just kind of who Democrats. That's why Hollywood tends to be predominantly Democrat, because they're good at making people believe things, manipulating people. So it's not a stretch to say that this was the January 6th event wasn't staged either. That's not far-fetched at all. However, if you're going to have Republicans out there that are going to hand this over to Democrats and make a fuss about these people being detained without due process, then you might want to make the case, like I said, bipartisan case, and say, look, even if these people were not Trump voters, even if they were impersonating people, right, this is wrong to hold these people and they haven't gone through due process. You're just detaining them. Okay, they need to have their day in court, and they need to be released if after or have their conviction after due process. That's how we're supposed to show that we're the adults in the room. Okay, but it seems like Republicans just went in and just made an admission that the people who did what the people did on January 6th were actually followers of Trump, which I guess you're setting Trump himself up to be culpable. That's what you guys are doing. So you might want to get this thing straight as far as that goes and how you're going to approach this. Like I said, if you don't want to just give it to them that, hey, it was us. You might want to say, hey, whether these people were actual Trump voters or whether because I don't even know who these people, these people just gone. They just in prison are being detained now. I don't know who these people are. You know, so anyway, that's just a suggestion. You might want to come from that angle. But, you know, a lot of conservatives don't seem to want to like follow my suggestions anyway. So, but I all I can do is try. That's all I can do is just try. Anyway, moving on to Milley. Milley kind of going milquetoast on us. This article says that hey, you know, he's a soldier. You know, he's done his service and stuff like that. But I mean, I guess now that he's in the position that he's in now, you know, I'm not saying he was milquetoast before. I don't know about his career service and stuff like that. But showing what he's demonstrated now, yeah, it don't look good. Kind of milquetoast. So it says there is that Milley is defiant amid increasing pressure to resign over China calls revelations. Okay, so hey, you know, the narrative is supposed to be snitches get stitches, man. It's like you snitched on the U.S. military, Milley. What's up with you? You snitched on the military under Trump. What's up with that? Okay, so now I know a lot of conservatives don't want to hear this, and I'm going to talk about this quite a bit. And you know, because you know, conservative voters, most of them, not y'all, you guys know what's up. That's why you guys tune in, and I'm so appreciative of that. And we got to try to spread the message, man. And I'm gonna say it again. This is another example of white privilege. That's right. This is white privilege. It's like, dude, you can get away with this, and I mean, come on, man. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're setting our military up to get hurt. It's like, you're not supposed to do that. You know, so look, I mean, and you know, let me not forget to like talk about like violations of conscience and all that sort of stuff. But hey, you a snitch. All right, you're a snitch. And the only thing I can see protecting Milley from facing the law is white privilege. Yes, that's the Democrat way, y'all. Yeah, you got to learn. Come on, conservatives, you got to learn this. You got to learn how to fight them at their own game. Okay, it's weird how I keep hearing conservatives say, we need to fight dirty like they do. And I say, okay, well, if you want to learn to fight dirty that they do, here you go. No, I don't want to do that because I'm not going to admit to being guilty. It's just not an admission of guilt for you. It's calling Democrats out and holding them to account by their own narrative. You're setting them up to hang themselves with their own rope. They're snaring you with the ropes that they lay out. But instead of catching that tripwire that triggers that rope to hang you with, you could turn it back around. You could turn it back around on them, but conservatives don't want to do that because they think it's an admission of guilt for them, and it's like they don't do it. That's the one. I'm telling you that's the weapon that they're giving you on a silver platter to turn back around on them. Conservatives don't do it. Milley is enjoying white privilege. That's the Democrat way. Okay, and I mean even this right here, even by Milley doing this, isn't this the violation of the Logan Act? I mean, I'm not assuming to be an expert in the law in this kind of policy. I'm not. I'm just asking. I'm asking y'all, right? I hope that you guys will weigh in and give some clarification on these things. But I mean, if we if we break down what the Logan Act is, doesn't it say any citizen of the United States, wherever he may be, who without authority of the United States directly or indirectly commences or carries on any correspondence or intercourse with any, who is that? Was he corresponding with Bang? What was her name? I don't know. Intercourse with any foreign government or any officer or agent thereof in relation to any disputes or controversies with the United States, or to defeat the measures of the United States, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Okay, so shouldn't Milley at least be getting 3 years? I mean, what he did is, I mean, I think it's beyond that, man. It's treason. You know, it's, I mean, this, man, you sold America out and did now. So, and what was up with the people who wrote this article, man? What were you guys saying? Who was, I don't remember who the cats were that wrote this book or wrote this up. Did you guys think that you were doing Milley a favor? It's like, I guess maybe they were trying to point out how woke Milley is. He did the responsible thing, and he was gonna go tell China that we were gonna preempt, that we were gonna wage an attack against China. And so Milley was gonna do the responsible thing and let them know. Whoa! Did you guys think that you were doing? I mean, because these cats, you know, they're like, you know, uber liberal and stuff like that. And I guess maybe they were trying to point out how woke Milley was. Was that y'all's angle? I'm just asking. I'm asking. Was that y'all's angle, that you thought that you were going to make Milley appear like he was this super woke and responsible military authority who was going to give China a heads up of our strategy, give them a peek at our playbook and let them know what was going on? Was that what y'all were doing? And in doing so, you basically, I guess, unwittingly busted Milley in the process. Is that what y'all were trying to do? Okay, smooth move, you know. That was very irresponsible of y'all to try to point out how I guess I shouldn't even say irresponsible. It was unwittingly responsible. Y'all didn't mean to be responsible. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, help me out. You know, I'm not trying to act like I absolutely know what's going on. I'm just asking. All right. So anyway, let me see what else we got. U.S. officials defend the deportation of Haitians. Y'all hating on Haitians? What's up with that? From the Texas town. You know what's going to happen is they're going to deport these Haitians, and then they're going to blame it on Texans for being racist. I have a sneaking suspicion that this is how this is going to go down. But let's talk a little bit about, Haitians, I reckon one of the reasons why Democrats want to get rid of them Haitians, because Haitians, they tend to have, they favor Republicans as far as that. I've been to Haiti, and they like Republicans there. All right. And I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day. It's like they're, even though they, they claim to be, I guess culturally, and religiously, they tend to be Catholic, but they still can't, they're having a hard time breaking away from that voodoo thing. The highest structure in Haiti, as far as I know, is a voodoo temple. So that kind of speaks a lot. They got churches like everywhere, but the highest structure is their voodoo temple. So, anyway, all we can do is, hey, pray for the Lord's peace and truth in him and say, hey, receive that peace and truth, man. Get away from all the religion. Accept Jesus for who he says he is, and you do not need a religion for that. The Comforter, the Counselor of the Holy Spirit will instruct you. Trust me, we are the church. You don't have to go to you don't have to pick a church. All these sects of church and stuff like that. It's like, no, that's not supposed to be a gamble. You're supposed to recognize the Lord. The sheep hear his voice. You are the church. All right. So at any rate, but because they kind of have this more, still somewhere there's a conservative streak in them, and Democrats, they don't want that taking a foothold, so they got to get rid of them. And I think the irony here is, you got Mayorkas, who's from Cuba, is spearheading, man, the deportation of these Haitians. And we got to get them out of here, right? Gonna give them a ticket back to Haiti. Right? Reminds me of my 20-Pound Sledge song, Ticket Out of Hades. Not to be confused with Haiti. There's Hades, but anyway. I hope you guys check that song out on the first album that we did, man, Divine Battery. Ticket Out of Hades, man. I hope you guys check that out. But this, we're talking about a ticket back to Haiti. Now, what's up, Democrats? It's why you trying to get rid of the Haitians? Why you hating on them? right? They can't be in Texas. You got to get rid of them. How come that effort isn't put towards, we got a lot of immigrants coming from south of the border, coming from, the Spanish-speaking territories that are coming up through here, and this look, illegal is illegal. Even if Haitians are coming in here illegal, hey, man, you can't do that. You can't do that. And yeah, you have to go back. There's no favoritism here. I'm just wondering, how is it the double standard? I don't get me wrong, y'all, because my heart goes out to anybody. You trying to get away from, with Haiti, they've dealt with this earthquake. They're trying to just get to better ground. I get it. I get the same thing with the Spanish-speaking countries. I understand, but here's the thing, especially between the Haitians and people south of the border in the Spanish-speaking countries, whether it's Mexico, El Salvador, whichever, these people are resourceful people, right? They're resourceful people. Like in Haiti, man, it's like, man, they can pop. I see children in Haiti can pop a balloon 3 flipping times and still use it. All right, kids be like, oh, I popped the balloon. Oh, darn, they'll wind that thing up and they'll use it again. Their soil is so rich, y'all, you could grow hair in it. All right, it's like it's like if a bus breaks down, man, if they can find anything that's round, man, they will put that thing on that axle and they will keep on rolling. All right, it's like, trust me, Haitians don't stop, but they live under oppressive factions that keep them from doing what they gotta do. It's the same thing with our Spanish speaking folks, our neighbors, man, Mexicans, El Salvadorians, you name it. They're the same way, man, resourceful people. And it's like, dude, with all that resourcefulness, why don't y'all fix your own country? Fix it instead of coming to try to come into ours, because what's gonna happen? You gonna make California part of Mexico? And if you guys hadn't fixed your way of doing things, y'all gonna be trying to leave California to go into other countries, because you're gonna screw up California too, right? As long as those oppressive factions stay in charge of your lives, if you guys don't take your culture, if you guys don't take your government, you guys always gonna be trying to leave. And you're gonna try to and you're gonna take those ideas and factions with you, and you're gonna try to make the same place that you came to the same place that you left from. You can't do that. That's why you got to come here legally, man. We got to check you out. All right? That's not racism. That's not thinking that we're better than anybody else. Man, we're America, man. We are everybody else. But you are going to have elitists in every country. Every country is going to have their aristocracy. They're going to have their people who think that they're better than somebody. That's every country, man. That's every place. And you can't be pulling this with every other country, just walking into any country, any old way that you want to. You can't do that. No other country is going to really let you do that. But America's evil because we say, hey, man, you can't be doing that here. All right? You got people running up into America accusing us of being arrogant. You're so arrogant. While they want to come in here, they want to make us learn their language. They refuse to learn our language. They think that they're entitled to the stuff that we have: education, health care, food benefits, housing benefits. They just come up into America assuming that they just have a right to these things, and they want to accuse America of being arrogant because we say no. What's up with that? So I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Haitians. I don't care if it's Mexicans. I don't care if it's Chinese. I don't care if it's Japanese. I don't care if they're from Afghanistan. It doesn't matter. My heart goes out to anybody who is dealing with oppression. But what happens if you just flood into here, you're going to bring the same things, and then you won't get away from oppression at all. That's the practical idea of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't just come in and just take over, because you'll just make the place that you wanted to come to just like the place that you left. All right? So you have to be practical about these things, man. It's not being calloused. It's not being racist. It's none of those things. It's making sure that this can be a country, a free country where people can come to and enjoy liberty, enjoy their God-given right to live and be free. That's what we're trying to maintain, man. That's not something that we're just trying to keep exclusively. We want everybody to enjoy that. Everybody. You got to do it the right way, man. And it's unfortunate that you got people who are born here, born to be able to enjoy these things, who are helping to make this place become something else. Why would you do that? Why don't you just go to the other places that you think is so wonderful? Why don't you just go there and instead of trying to force America to be something that it's not? Why would you do that? It makes no sense. So, but you got these people, man, what you gonna try to make? It's like you gonna try to make the justification that Lincoln did the same thing. Well, wasn't Lincoln trying to send slaves back? Send slaves to Liberia? Huge difference, y'all. All right. So when you got slaves that are brought over here against their will, and Lincoln is gonna give the option, it's like, hey man, if you guys want to go back, you can go. I'm not even go back because I think Liberia. That was like help me out here. I think Liberia was just like a new place that they made or established like a new territory there where, if slaves wanted to go there, they could, right? But this is a whole different thing because slaves were brought here against their will with the option to say, hey, man, if you want to leave here and have a place to go, let's make that happen. However, when you got people coming here by their own will, imposing their will on us. Well, no, dude, you can't just stay here. You got to go back. Okay, you have to go back. So that's a whole different thing, man. And there's no comparison as far as that goes. And I'm understanding that you got a lot of I think conservative talk show hosts that are calling the Biden administration, hey man, isn't this racist? By your own narrative, this is racist. You guys are targeting Haitians and sending them back. You're making sure that you got the resources to come after them. You ain't, it's like, what, I'm sorry, what, are they not paying enough taxes for you or something like that? Is that how it works? Right? And see, and I'll remind y'all really quick. See, this is how this works. And I hope conservatives will take it. And unfortunately, conservatives, they'll fight me on this too. And it's just really sad. Think about this. These Haitians that are coming in, they're not coming in, and it doesn't look like they're having like any sort of withholdings or anything like that. You're not paying your taxes. Democrats want them taxes. They want to be able to make money off them. So they're not, if they're just coming in and they don't see them as a way for them to get into the workforce and make some money that they can go ahead and target for withholding so they can tolerate them being here, well, they going back. But that's one of the reasons why you have a lot of Spanish people coming in, because they got to go ahead, they got to make them filings and stuff like that, and then they get targeted for withholding. So they don't get sent back because the government's making money off of them, right? You think that they just here, and you think if they were without any sort of stability or something like that, or something to anchor them here, it's not just babies that anchor them here. As long as they're able to, have a job and the government can come and claim some of them withholdings, they're gonna be here. And now, see what you have is a person from another nation who is paying, in effect, is paying taxes. Now you guys can see where the 3/5 clause comes in. All right, the 3/5 clause of the Constitution. If you guys can learn about this in my audio books, Weapon of ASS Destruction and A Solid Right Cross. But I'll remind you guys right here, this is how this works. Because this is how the Democrats have perverted what the 3/5 clause mean and made people think that it's a racist clause against black folks, trying to say that they're only 3/5 of a human being. That's not what that means at all. That's not what the 3/5 clause is. The 3/5 clause is mentioned in only one race of people mentioned in the Constitution. One. The only race mentioned in the Constitution are Indians. That's it. And that's where the 3/5 clause comes in. The 3/5 clause, if you go read it, that's the only place where this is mentioned. Because what it is saying is excluding Indians, not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. That's what it says. Excluding Indians, not to. So it's unfortunate because you got conservatives who try to go by some enumeration narrative, even an early narrative that was coming by early writers who were drafting the Constitution, and they go by what they thought that it meant. That's not what it means. Read it. Read it closely. That's what it says. Excluding Indians, not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. What that means is when you had these people out there trying to get a census of people so they could have a number of people, so they can have their representation, what they were doing, y'all, is that they were counting Indians of other nations to get their numbers. They were getting Indians to go ahead and play into their census. These are people from other tribes and nations, and they were counting them in their census so they can get the votes to have representation. That's what they were doing. And these people So that they're not paying taxes. So the stipulation was put in, hey, you can't be counting those Indians in your census unless they are at least paying 3/5 the taxes of everybody else. Now, you see that playing out today, don't you? You see Democrats today collecting votes from people who are not of our nation. But if those people come in and they got them jobs illegally, but if they're paying them taxes, right? As long as they pay that, they're going to collect them votes and they'll be allowed to stay here. You see how that works now? So don't let these Democrats sit there and try to tell you, because they're hiding behind something. Don't sit there and let them try to tell you that the 3/5 clause is targeted towards blacks to make them 3/5 of all of the persons. Meanwhile, these are the worst offenders of trying to disqualify somebody's personhood. That's Democrats. They're the worst offenders of that. But the 3/5 clause is about who qualifies by how much taxes they pay. If you're a member of another nation, particularly of the Indian nations, if you are not paying 3/5 the taxes of everybody else, you cannot be counted in the census and you'll vote. You cannot vote. That's what that means. All right. So, but anyway, y'all, let's turn it back. Turn it back upside down, or to right side up on these Democrats who be twisting things. All right. So we got Megadeth. You know, they're one of my favorites, right? So Megadeth, man, Megadeth rocker Dave Mustaine. This article says Megadeth rocker Dave Mustaine tells concert crowd, we have the power to push back against tyranny. Right on. Okay. So in this concert, you know, following they just did their song Peace Sells, and so kind of Dave kind of, you know, goes into a little bit of soapboxing, right? Up on my soapbox as a know-it-all scholar. Okay, anyway. Anyway, hey, that's his lyrics, not mine. All right, so basically he's talking about, like, man, look at us, man. We here, we having a good time. Man, we got these masks on. We're not judging people for not wearing masks, and we're fine, man. It's all good. You know, maybe if we just stood up and let these people know, we could push back against tyranny, because tyranny is, it is. You know, tyranny under the guise of safety, right, and security. This ain't tyranny. This ain't safety and security. This is straight up tyranny, right? It's coming. It's bearing down, man. It's tyranny with a smiley face, right? But it's that face is going to become, you know, an angry, mean face. But this is how it starts, just like Dave was saying. So, you know, now, he's saying it right, and I don't really need to touch any more on that. But I guess the thing that I do have concern about, though, is, you know, all the profanity and stuff like that. And see, you know, a lot of people, man, Christians, for some reason, man, Christians, and Dave is a declared Christian. He proclaims that boldly, and which I appreciate. He's a Christian and tends to vote, you know, Republican. He's conservative. He came a long way, but it's one of those things, man, and there's a lot of entertainers who are like this, a lot of entertainers out there, you know, who claim to be Christian, but you can see that they put their craft before the kingdom. And that's really disappointing, man, because your job as a Christian is we're supposed to be emissaries of the kingdom. We're supposed to represent, man. It's, you know, and when you have an audience and you're just dropping profanity and just using F-bombs and stuff like that, that's not really representing the kingdom, and that's really selfish. You're trying to glorify yourself. And in doing that, you're showing that the love of your audience means more to you than the love of God, right? Okay, yeah, God, that's great. God loves me, but my audience, I want them to love me, and I want to relate to them, and I've got my alpha male thing going, and I'm going to curse and swear and all that sort of stuff, and I want to make sure that people are just cutting loose and having a good time, and we have no inhibitions and all that sort of stuff. It's like, whoa, pump your brakes, dude. You're not representing Christianity at all. You're not representing the kingdom. Okay, and there's a lot of entertainers like that, man. It's like they claim to believe in God, you know, but you know, they don't. But at the end of the day, they put their craft before the kingdom. They put their status, and they put their fans before the kingdom and stuff like that. They want to be adored by their fans. That means more to them than being adored by God, you know, and that shows. So, you know, it's that kind of stuff is like really disappointing. And the sad part of it is that a lot of people, well, what's the harm in it? So he says the F word and all that sort of stuff. And people call that strong language. It ain't strong language. Truth is strong language. And that's all the strength that you need. right? I can't stand it when people say, speak truth to power. You don't speak truth to power because the truth is power, you know? So when you talk to people, hey, you might want to, you know, put your inside voice on when you speaking the truth, right? Because, you know, God is the truth. You might want to, you know, be, have a little bit more better conducting of yourself when you speak to this truth. You know, you might, you know, you can speak to lies, you know, and assume that you can be bold about it. But when you speak truth, you are speaking power, right? But you don't assume to like pump your fist at power, assuming that you're speaking truth, you know, to what is already truth. You know what I mean? I wish it'd be great if people could get some understanding on that. You know, I know you guys do. You know what's up. So, but at any rate, y'all, conducting oneself like this and assuming that there's no harm in it. Yeah, there is. Yes, there is. Remember, y'all, the first thing described about the devil is that he moves in subtlety. He works in subtleties. He's the most subtle. He's the most crafty. He's the most shrewd of all creatures, right? So people tend to forget that. And then when you got these people out there who have these platforms and they're just speaking all these profanities and stuff like that, man, you're not representing. You're just representing yourself. You're glorifying yourself. And you want people to like you because of this. And that's unfortunate because you have these same people who say that it's no big deal while at the same time lamenting about how perverse our culture is becoming, how profane our culture is becoming. Oh, like you had nothing to do with it? You're out there encouraging. Why is it okay for you? Why is it okay for you to be dropping all these F-bombs and stuff like that and conducting yourself in an unruly manner that's not really, but it's okay for you because I'm responsible. I'm an adult and I'm a conservative and I'm a Christian and stuff like that. I can do those things and be responsible about it. Those liberals, they're just children. It's like, no, you're saying the same thing as they do, but you think that you're better because what? Because you're a Christian or you're conservative? No, you're no better, right? It contributes to the collapse of our culture. It contributes to the lack of morals that people have. You know, God spoke the most strongest language in the universe, and he never had to drop an F-bomb. God just drops truth bombs. God, as I said before, God never said, let there be effing light. He didn't need to say that. He spoke the most powerful words in the universe that restored the earth. Right? When Jesus is able to speak life, he didn't say, hey, Lazarus, bring your ASS out of there. Come on, man, hurry the F up. He didn't say that. Jesus just said, Lazarus, come out. He didn't have to drop a bunch of F-bombs to give thrust to what he was saying, to punctuate what he had to say. Jesus didn't have to make a whole bunch of curse words to speak the most powerful words there is. He didn't have to do that. So why do people out there who claim to be Christians think that they got to drop a bunch of F-bombs and B words and all that sort of stuff to punctuate their point? It doesn't make any sense. You're not representing. You're being fake. Right? So it takes restraint, man. It takes power. It takes real power, real restraint to put the brakes on giving into your flesh and speaking those things. Why? It's a shame when people go out and profit off of this kind of language. And I ain't gonna, I'm not trying to play holier than thou, y'all, because I got a mouth like an alligator, to tell you the truth, right? I do, man. It's like those words. It's like I'd be dropping them S words and F bombs and A words, and I do it too. I do it. You know, I never say the B word though. I don't do that, right? No B words, no N words. I don't do that sort of stuff. I don't particularly. There's no redeeming value in it at all, and I don't like to use language that dehumanizes people, right? I don't give into that. You know, I see these people out there complaining about racism and complaining about sexism while using the same racist terms and sexist terms that they complain about. Those words don't come out of my mouth. I don't do that. I don't contribute to that nonsense. But, you know, like I said, they're often, you know, do I drop me some curse words? Yes. Do I do them, you know, usually because I'm talking to myself. These aren't words that I use, but you don't hear me use them because I don't think it's right to profit off of them. All right? I'm not going to go out there and use that kind of language and make a profit of it. That's selling out your country. That's selling out the soul of the world, right? You sell out. You're selling out when you do that because you're trying to make a buck. You know, relying on that kind of language to do that while complaining how perverse the world is becoming. You know, I don't think that's right. You know, but you know, have mercy on me, Lord. You know, it's like sometimes I get to, me and my wife. We party, me and my wife and I, you know, and we just cut loose with each other. But we don't, you know, it's like I said, outside of that, that's usually not language that we use. But, you know, when we're amongst each other and we just filtering out our words, you know, talking about, you know, what's going on and how we be laughing and talking with each other. Yeah. Do we cut loose that way? Yes, we do. Right. But we ain't going to profit off it, though. You know, so like I said, I'm not, and all the reason why I'm saying that, y'all, is because I'm not trying to act like I'm some judge and I'm, you know, holier than thou or anything like that. You know, like I said, but the thing is it's not something that we would profit off of. You know, so I don't use that kind of language. I understand that, you know, your kids may sometimes be tuning into stuff like that. I ain't gonna talk that way around your kids. You know, it's just respect, man. It's just respect. I'm not gonna sit there and you know, be talking around a kid, talk like that around kids, and then complain about how kids grew up to be all profane and stuff like that. Like they ain't got no manners and they gotta do all this stuff to try to make a point while being a bunch of little perverts and stuff like that. So I ain't gonna do that. You know, like I said, I'm blessed. You know, that sometimes, you know, your families be watching, you know, the audience that I have, you know, I'm so blessed and grateful for y'all. And I know that sometimes, you know, your kids be listening too. I ain't gonna be sitting here cursing and stuff in front of your kids and be like, oh, that's all right. It's okay. It's Uncle Zoe. And when I say it, it has meaning and it has usefulness to it. And you know, kids should be exposed to this stuff. So get them ready for the world. And I ain't gonna do that crap, man. That's nonsense. You're not getting any kids ready for the world by cursing and swearing around them and stuff like that. You don't get them ready for the struggles of the world. You help make them become the struggles of the world when you do that. That's what you do. So I don't think it's right that people be justifying stuff like that. Anyway, Megadeth is one of my favorite bands. What else we got? Let me see. A couple more things. I heard, let me see, some cat named Dowd is saying, and Dowd, Trump, and Fox News is saying that Trump and Fox News is radicalizing Republicans. It's about time. About time Republicans remember who they are. That's right. We were founded to be radicals. What's wrong with that? It's about time the Republicans started. They've stigmatized being radical because you got a whole bunch of Republicans and Democrats and these people, these elitists and stuff like that. They associate radicalism with something bad because of Saul Alinsky. All these people have fallen into their trap, particularly Republicans. They have fallen into the trap of Saul Alinsky, who have maneuvered them into and suckered them into this narrative, and that's why Republicans have this problem with being radicals and have totally forgotten what they were founded as. Republicans were founded as radicals. Abolitionists, radicals became Republicans. That's what we're founded as. Okay, to fight against rebelliousness. Rebelliousness, what the Constitution calls it. Rebelliousness, what the Bible calls it, rebelliousness. Democrats rebelled against people's God-given rights, and Republicans said, we're going to be radical about this. We're going to stay rooted, solid in the Word of God, in the Constitution. That was your radicals. That's what a radical is, rooted. There's no Islam radicals. There's no socialist radicals. These people aren't rooted in anything because you can't satisfy their system. You can't satisfy the religion. It's based in nothing. It's an empty pit. It's an empty hole. It's an abyss. There's no core. There's no root. You can't satisfy it. All right? They're not radicals. They're just crazy. All right? Crazy and radical are not the same thing. A radical is somebody who's solid. A radical is somebody who has a root. Right? That's what the Republicans were. And the Republicans gave this away. They gave it to the Democrats. And then they wonder why people think the parties have switched sides. Because they fell for the tactics of Saul Alinsky. And they don't see it. That's how far gone they are, right? And even when they accept the narrative of being radicals, they'll do it as a way of taking it as a derogatory statement. It's a shame that Republicans were more welcoming of Democrats calling them deplorables. Yeah, that's right, I'm a deplorable. But they won't accept being called radicals. Weird, man. Totally weird. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's a start. Lastly, let's talk a little bit about the designer of AOC's Tax the Rich gown owes back taxes of $1.6 million for her Hollywood Hills home. Okay. Yeah, their hypocrisy knows no bound, does it? Okay, so check this out. Let's go back to talk what I was talking about with that white privilege. Okay. Let's try to get this out there, homies, right? To my Zolofters. Let's try to get conservatives to understand, because they fight this, man, and they don't get how this works. This is white privilege. Please understand, this is white privilege, especially according to their narrative. It is white privilege. Y'all, you can beat them with their own narrative. Conservatives, don't fight this. Don't fight it. Don't do the thing. It's not white privilege. It's Democrat privilege. It's liberal privilege. No, 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 no. It's white privilege. Because according to them, even AOC, by AOC being able to go to this gala and pay the money that she has to do it, and she having friends that can get away with making her a dress that costs this much and make this dress and get away with having owing this much taxes on her $1.6 million home. Oh, according to their narrative, guess what that is? That's white privilege. Yeah, even AOC, according to her narrative, is white. As I do my AOC face, right? Yes, according to their narrative, y'all, everything about this is white. Do you understand? Call them out on it. But see, conservatives can't do that because it's just like I was saying with the earlier thing. Republicans are calling out Biden for being racist for sending Haitians back. It's not going to be effective. You know why? Conservatives, you can't have it both ways. You cannot have it both ways. You can't call Biden and the Democrats racist for sending Haitians back when you're always making the case that there's no systemic racism in America and that there's no white privilege in America and that there's no white supremacy in America. You can't do that. You just took all the thunder out of your statement. You gave the Democrats a pass. You see what I'm saying? Now y'all are trying to say that what Biden is doing is racist. No, you can't say that because you said that there is no racism in America. When I've been trying to tell you, yes, there is racism in America. It's the Democrat Party. You see how you guys keep trying to have it both ways and you wonder why your strategies don't work? Well, so we do call Democrats on it. Yeah, but you guys turn around and then you cancel out your own statements. You do it every time. You say that what the Democrats are doing is racist, but there's no racism in America. There's no systemic racism in America. There's no white privilege. There's no white supremacy. Well, the Democrats who are doing this racist. No, you just said that there is no racism. Which one is it? You see what I'm saying? So now, conservatives, can we be consistent? Can you hold Democrats to their own absurd hypocrisy? AOC, according to her narrative and her entourage and her affiliates, they're all white. Even her, right? According to their own narrative, they are white because that's what the Democrats are. They push this narrative. Call them out on it. This is white privilege. This is white supremacy. Okay? This is systemic racism. They get away with doing these things. They have a system of it, right? And all this stuff was instituted by the white supremacist Democrat Party as it is. If they can go and try to call Larry Elder a white supremacist, well, why can't they be? Any of them. Any of them. This is not an indictment of white people. It is an indictment of the supremacy narrative of Democrats who, from the get-go, said that the heavens ordained white supremacy over the Negro, right? So when you see that Confederate battle flag sewn together by the Democrat Party, put into a flag with a white field, that flag's gone through different variations. That's what that meant. That was why it was made. That is the statement of Thomas Smith, right? The white field represents the heaven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the Negro, right? But they changed it because it looked like a flag of surrender, so they changed it to the bloodstained banner, okay? But all that to say, that's who the Democrats have been. And now they're using, just like they did back then, they'll even use people of color. The Confederacy, established by the Democrat Party, they had Negroes fighting with them too, right? Whether it was by coercion or any sort of bribe or some sort of benefit that they would have, right? But the bottom line, so people say, well, there was black folks fighting in the Confederate Army too, and they'll try to make that case. It's like, dude, you got black folks willfully walking into abortion clinics also. You know, so what's your point? So what? You got a whole bunch of black folks out there standing with Planned Parenthood, the arbiters of black genocide, volunteering for their genocidal campaign, killing themselves off. You think I'm supposed to be impressed because there were black folks fighting in the Confederate Army? That didn't mean anything to me. So At any rate, y'all, the white supremacy goes back as far as that. Yeah, and these white folks in the Democrat Party, these white devils, real white devils, can use people of color to advance their narrative too. Democrats have been doing that for over 100 years. They've been doing that. So it would be great if a lot of these conservatives would get savvy to that and stop dismissing white supremacy, because it's a real thing and it exists with the Democrat Party. It does not exist as America. That's not what America was founded for. You have people who took liberties with what America is and tried to pervert it into something else. That's not the fault of America, the Constitution, and the Word of God that this country was founded on. That's not the fault of that at all. But you have people who perverted that. And you can still see that perversion today with the Democrat Party. They're doing that. It is an indictment against them, not an indictment against white people in general, not an admission of guilt for you. I'm trying to tell you, trap them in their own narrative. That's all I'm saying, right? All right, y'all. I think that's all I got today. All the doses for the TZL. So remember, y'all, I'm moving these things over to my website, all right? I want these things at bronzeserpentmedia.com. I'm trying to get off of YouTube, man. I'm trying to be dependent on, I don't want to be dependent on the enemy, right? We're in enemy territory here. I ain't fighting the monster here. I'm feeding it. I'm tired of being food for the monster, all right? So I want to get off of YouTube. Folks can hardly see me here anyway. So, but one of the reasons why I'm here, because that's where my largest artist, I got 70,000 plus subscribers here, but I can hardly reach any of them. So if I'm going to go through all that trouble, I might as well just go through that trouble from my own website. So I hope that you guys will become there. You can become a member there for free, right? Free membership, and we can go ahead and keep this party going, man. Just, stop over at my place, right? And get your mug, fill your mug. Let's toast and talk about, sane things, right? Make sure if you dig what we're doing over here, make sure you go to bronzeserpentmedia.com, become a member, drop a buck in the bucket if you want to help me keep the lights on, grab the mugs, get the music, all that sort of stuff, and God bless you. All right, right on, y'all. We will see you next time in TZL Unprescripted.